My name is Cody Sperber. I'm the CEO of Clever Investor. For those of you that don't know me, welcome to a little daily source of motivation and mindset training. I want to talk to you guys about something I feel is so super important, especially if you're a millennial, if you're somebody who is really struggling right now to figure out what you want to do with your life. If you're asking yourself, it's the end of the year, and you're asking yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? If you're struggling to find your passion or your purpose, I get this question all the time in direct messages. You guys constantly are asking, Cody, how do you find passion? How do you find purpose? How do you find work that you love to do? And I feel like this is a struggle with so many people because most of us are conditioned since we were little. Our caregivers, our parents, our teachers, our church, our community members, our friends, our family, everybody has been conditioned and has been conditioning us to think a certain way. Think about the social norms of society, what you should do. Go get a, go through, grade school, work your butt off to get good grades, high school, go to college, pick a major, work hard at it, go find a corporate job, work your way up the corporate ladder, spend 20, 30 years working your butt off for somebody else, hoping that you're going to get a little gold watch someday and a pension. We've been conditioned, and it's so difficult. And those of us that are lucky enough to find passion and purpose live lives that most people dream of. It's so difficult for people to identify why they were put on this earth. What legacy do they want to leave? And so in this conversation, I want to give you 3 steps for finding passion and purpose. These 3 things will drastically and radically change your philosophy and what you're doing right now. Because if you're sitting there and you're struggling and you feel like there's more gas in your tank, you guys have heard me say that phrase before. If you feel like there's more inside and you want to go further faster and you know that you have the ability to make a big impact, that you're capable of more, these 3 things are going to unlock your ability to zero in and identify your passion and your purpose. If you guys like this, please share this with others. If you like this, there's somebody out there that needs to hear this. It's that important. Now, I don't come on here, I don't charge you guys for motivation or advice, and I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm just a businessman, a father, an entrepreneur, a husband, a guy just like you, struggling to find passion and purpose every single day, working my butt off to leave a legacy. So step number 1, and this is by far the most important thing, is you have to ask yourself this question. And you got to spend time becoming a self-expert. And you got to ask yourself this question. What is it that I care most about? How do I become a self-expert? More people spend time picking out a dorm room TV set than they do analyzing who they are. They don't study themselves. How this is not a major in college and a forced requirement throughout grade school to study yourself is beyond me. Don't get me started. But you have to take the time and analyze who you are and what makes you tick. What are your values? What do you care most about? What is your number? They asked that in the movie Wall Street. What's my number? The guy thinks about it for a second and he smirks and he says, my number's more. See, that's the problem. Most people are chasing a dollar. They're chasing a number. They're chasing an amount where they say, oh, I made enough. Now I'm going to finally quit and actually go and do what I really want to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. Success is an obligation, and I think having nice things is great. But if you want to find who you really are, here's a couple things that you can do. Number 1, you need to travel more. It puts life into perspective. It gives you an opportunity to realize how lucky you are and how much opportunity you actually have. When you see the other side, when you realize the rest of the world is struggling, they're having a nightmare. And there's a lot of people out there that don't have it as good as you. When you travel and you see these things and they become real, you start to identify what you truly are capable of and what you're passionate about. Number 2, you got to write down and identify what your hierarchy of decisions is. If you don't understand how you make calls, how you make choices, if you haven't taken the time to figure out why you do what you do, figured out who you're doing this for, because it's not money a lot of times. It's not the jet, it's not the house, it's not the cars, it's not the big bank account. It's normally a person or a group of people or your church or your community. Your passion is linked to your why, and it becomes so much more impactful when you identify clearly what it is and who it is you want to impact. You got to ask yourself, what experiences do I want to have? So many times we identify what we want to accomplish, but we miss out on the biggest piece, which is the experience. We've heard this saying a million times, you know, it's not the end result, it's the journey that's important. Why do you think they say that? It's because at the end of the day, you realize when you're young, you can't wait to get older. When you're older, you can't wait to slow down time. It starts going by so fast. You feel like the harder you hold on to relationships with people. I'm watching my kids grow up right now. I got a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old. And I can't slow it down. I can't hold on to those memories tight enough. I feel like the tighter I grip, the more they slip through my fingers and the faster they're floating away. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to be reflecting back on your life. And you're going to be asking yourself, what did I really accomplish? What experiences did I really have? So why wait? Why miss out? Why have regrets? Why not identify it right now while you're young and chase them? Make them a major priority in your life. Don't worry about going to get a job just to make your resume look good. Go find a job that creates an experience for you. So that's step number 1. You got to become a self-expert. Step number 2, you got to push your limits. You have to push your limits. Everybody around us is constantly giving us their opinions. They're constantly telling us what they think we should do. They're constantly setting limitations and expectations on our lives. Well, I say BS. What about your dreams? What about your goals? What about what you want to accomplish? You know, Roger Bannister, before him, nobody ever broke a 4-minute mile. People said it was impossible. Well, he did it. And right after he did it, guess what? A bunch of other people did it. He set unrealistic expectations on himself. He pushed the limits and he made it happen. And guess what? He raised the standard. You need to raise the standard right now in your world. Maybe you're not surrounded by people that are doing big things. Maybe you've never seen wealth or felt it. I didn't grow up with any money. I didn't have a lot of successful people around me. I mean, my dad worked really hard. And he always provided for me and my family, but we didn't have a lot. I lived in apartments. I started with nothing. I didn't have great role models. All my uncles were druggies. They either died or went to jail. So you need to seek out good mentors in your life, people that lift your expectations, that support you. Surround yourself with those that actually want to see you do big things, not just hate on your big dreams and tell you all the reasons why it's not going to work. Sometimes you got to cut some people off, and sometimes those people are close to us, and it hurts. But the reality is, if you want to be successful, you have to be comfortable cutting people off for a short period of time. It's short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. And that includes burning the boats, putting your back against the wall, and forcing yourself to level up. You need to set unrealistic expectations. And the third thing is you need to identify what inspires you. When you look around the landscape of the world and all the different industries, what inspires you? Because so many times we do things because our parents want us to. We go pick a major because our parents wanted us to pick a major. I was no different. My dad had the biggest impact on me going and getting a degree in finance. I'm glad I did it. I don't use it the way it was designed. I'm not a stockbroker. I'm not a financial planner, but I use it in my business just because it taught me how to read financial documents and understand how finances work. But if I would have really stepped back and thought about what I really want to do, what my passion is, I probably would have became a 9th grade history teacher or a marine biologist. You know, something that I really cared about. I really felt like was in my heart. So you got to identify what inspires you. And a lot of times those industries or those career choices, they're not traditional. Maybe it's a blog. Maybe you want to write a blog and you want to be a blogger. Maybe you want to be a social media influencer. You know, it's unbelievable what's possible. People are making a lot of money right now doing very untraditional things because it's in their heart, it's in their soul. They're willing to go 6 months, 12 months, 2 years without making any money because they're just passionate about it. Then all of a sudden, it's like a hockey stick. The momentum builds. They stay consistent. They become credible. They become an expert. And all of a sudden, success happens. They're an overnight success in an industry that wasn't traditional, and all of a sudden they're making big money and everybody's applauding them like, man, you're such a great example of what a leader is and all this time. They're thinking, man, where were you for those 2 years where I sacrificed it all? The goal of all this is to define what success looks like to you. Become a self-expert. Push your limits. Identify what inspires you. That's it. So that's my message for you guys here today. I hope you got something from it. Now, if you're watching this as a replay, I appreciate you being here. Share this with others. It's important that people hear this. That's all I got. I love you guys. Take care. Comb your hair. Cody Sperber, Clever Investor, signing off. Till next time. Peace.